Hello, I'm Ron Pope, and you are in my backyard, and I am going to answer 10 questions. Question number 1 from Amanda. Amanda wanted to know where my favorite place is to write music. And I can't really be picky about where I write music because I'm always traveling. And so it just depends, you know. I wrote most of Calling Off the Dogs in Paris, but I wrote the beginning of it in Georgia. I started to write songs. I was like living on a lake for a month, so I wrote a number of songs there, and kind of all sorts of other places. As I've traveled, I've written songs, you know, in Mexico and Australia and all over Europe. It just, you know, and everywhere in America. It just depends kind of on where I am. When it feels like it's time to write a song, I write a song. Question number 2. Laura asks, what is the most important life lesson I have ever learned? My father taught me this one. He said, it's a series though, you can't only say one, it's a few of them. It's never play pool with a man named after a city. Never make love to a woman who has a tattoo of a dagger anywhere on her body. Never trust a werewolf. And always try to get at least 12 hours of sleep. I think some of that stuff's from Teen Wolf. I'm not exactly sure, but that stuff, all that stuff I believe in. Question number 3. Kim asks, if I had a superpower, what would it be? If I could have a superpower, I would want to be able to fly. And I know that's a cop-out, and lots of people say they'd want to fly, but it would really make my life a lot easier if I could fly. Especially like super fast flying, like Superman, because then I could just and then be where I have to go next. That would just be the most practical superpower for me. So, question number 4. Hannah asks, what is an item on my bucket list? You know, I really want to go on a safari. I've never been on a safari before, and I'd love to be able to see kind of, you know, big cats and elephants and things like that, kind of in their natural environment. I think that would be really cool. So I'd love to go on a safari at some point. That's something I've always been interested in. Question number 5. Alexa asks, when I started singing. You know, I've always been a singer, really. I feel like as a kid I would sing. I always wanted to sing, and you know, I didn't think that I would pursue it professionally, really. You know, I mean, I enjoyed it a great deal. As a kid, I thought that if I was going to sing in a group, that I would want to sing in front of a vocal group like The Temptations, like David Ruffin, who was the main guy in The Temptations, was one of my very favorite singers when I was a kid, and he still is. I mean, he's incredible. And so I kind of always imagined myself, you know, when I was a little kid doing something like that. But yeah, I guess I've always been a singer, and then just kind of developed it and polished it over the years. Question number 6. Emily asks, what has been the most embarrassing moment that we've had on tour? You know, mostly I will say, you know, people always ask, what's a crazy story or what's an embarrassing moment? And most days on tour are pretty much the same. You wake up, you're in front of the music venue, or you're in a hotel and you go to the venue and your stuff goes inside, you have sound check. It's all like pretty much the same, and you get on stage and that's exciting, but the rest of the day is like pretty regular, pretty standard. I'm trying to think of something, you know, embarrassing. Embarrassing is tough. Nothing really embarrassing has happened in recent years on tour. Once one of the guys in my band did poop his pants. That's real. That is a real thing. I think, it didn't happen to me, but it was pretty embarrassing, and I thought it was hysterical. So that did happen. True story. This is question number 7 from Catherine, and Catherine asks, how different is New York from where I grew up in Georgia? You know, New York is different than pretty much everywhere that I've ever been. There's actually nothing quite like New York. So where I grew up is very different than this. I grew up in the suburbs, so there's a lot of, you know, malls and you know, things like that. You know, Chick-fil-A and Wendy's, and you know, like grocery stores, and you know, like suburban stuff, baseball fields and schools and libraries. And so living in New York is different than living anywhere. But I've been up here for a very long time, so it definitely feels like home to me, New York. Question number 8 is about my Big Green Egg. This is not a paid endorsement. Somebody is asking me about my grill, and they said, how do I like it? And I love it so far. I'm really excited that I bought a grill. I feel almost like a grown-up because I have a grill at my house. So I'm stoked about my grill. Thank you for asking about the grill.
So they meant like scrambled or over easy.
How do you like your eggs then? Okay, that's, yeah. I didn't get that.
I think the question,
Number
I
9.
think the intended question is,
How do you like your egg?
Yeah, I think the intended question
let
is
me
how do you
get
like
a
your
shot of the egg in the background just in case here.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, we got it. Endorsement time.
Question number 9. Gracie asks, what is my favorite song that I've ever written of my own? My favorite song that I've ever written, it changes all the time, but my favorite one at the moment is probably Silver Spoon from Calling Off the Dogs. It was really challenging for me to write it, and it was something I'd always wanted to write a song that had movements in it, like a classical piece, and so I was really proud when I got through it, and it's actually a song that I really like, and so that's one I'm very excited about at the moment. Question number 10. So a bunch of people have asked for lists of artists that I like or bands that I've always loved, and so I would say in terms of classic artists, you know, there's Hendrix and Zeppelin and the Stones, CCR, Stevie Wonder. I like a lot of Motown stuff and old country stuff like Johnny Cash and kind of rockabilly stuff, and you know, Roy Orbison and Elvis and lots of things. You know, Dylan, and then you know, moving along, Springsteen and Jackson Browne and Tom Petty, and so it's a wide variety of things. You know, I love lots of stuff, and then contemporary things. I really love Haim. I've been listening to them, Bastille, the 1975, you know, kind of all sorts of stuff. I really like hip hop. You know, so sometimes I'll be listening to Rick Ross or Drake. I love Kanye, and especially his production. I like Arcade Fire a lot. So all sorts of things. I kind of have a big, broad spectrum of things that I like to listen to. I am Ron Pope. You're in my backyard. I just answered 10 questions, so thank you for coming to visit me, and I will talk to you again very soon. Mwah.